Hey folks, Tim Newman with Soft Light Studios bringing you yet again another daily assignment. Today's assignment for September 21st, 2019. Our assignment today is titled Jeeps. Hey, as long as we just finished up on convertibles, let's work on the most recognizable convertible out there, the Jeep. The Jeep is an icon of the military past and a symbol of outdoor freedom today. Jeeps seem to be everywhere these days, even in places where you wouldn't believe they could go. Find some Jeep action near you and capture it today. Let's take a look at some sample Jeep images. Here we have exactly what the Jeep was intended to do. Go out and get filthy dirty and require $10 worth of quarters to spray it off in the local car wash. No, seriously, this is what Jeepers love to do. Let's find some mud, some puddles, some hills, and get out into the woods and really tear it up. And I like the perspective on this picture of looking down the one side of the frame out to that trail in front of it. If we had stuck the Jeep in the middle of that, it might not have been as obvious of a trail. And I think having it off-centered like this really works well. Now, I would have liked some more sky color in the background, but some days when you're out there shooting, that's what you get, and you got to work with it. Now, I'm going to point out one thing before I move on here. This guy's window is down. He's going to have to clean out the inside. All right, in our next picture, we got a Jeep out there tearing it up on some trails. And this looks a lot like my Jeep. I love my Jeep. And I really like the fact that it allows me to go places and get to locations where I can take pictures that I otherwise would have had a really hard time or almost impossible getting there. I think that's a pretty cool facet of the Jeep's capabilities. And I like the way this picture demonstrates that. I love the color set in the dirt and what's left of the grass in the background. And I like the rule of thirds that's divided up here, taking a look at this image. Let's take a look at our elements of design that we're concerned about. One of the first things that we think about is the Jeep shape, right? The Jeep shape is pretty obviously recognizable, and we should work that into our images. Where we have shape and we have the right light, we've got shadow, we've got texture, we've got form. Think about that three-dimensional view of the Jeep. And last but not least, I think a lot of these pictures are going to come down to quality of light. A lot of times we're working in muddy, dirty conditions, and really that quality of light is going to help that Jeep really pop off the background in the picture. Let's take a look at some more sample images. Here we got a guy out jeeping, and he's working his way through the trail, and all his buddies are keeping an eye out for the front and back parts of the Jeep, making sure they don't drag going through this little divot. And let me tell you, this little hole right here, child's play. We go up stuff that's straight up, and it's kind of cool. This is really, really nice. This could be somewhere out in the mountains of Colorado. I love to go out jeeping in Ouray, and it gets me up into elevations and areas that I would normally never get to see. So I really like this Jeep. It gives me that mountain feel, and all these buds out here doing the jeeping for the day. Our next image here, boy, if you could be lucky enough to get an area like this to jeep in, that's pretty cool. And it's not impossible. There's some great areas like that over in Indiana and up in Michigan in the dunes, and there's certainly a lot of it out west, so you can have some fun out in the sand with the Jeep and really have a good time. One last picture we want to take a look at here. Hoping this doesn't come to our area too soon, but you know it's around the corner, and jeeping out on the snow can be pretty cool too. They just build these trails with these boards, and you go out there and have a lot of fun off-road in the snow playing with this stuff. I think this is a really cool shot, really what Henry Cartier-Bresson would describe as the decisive moment kind of shot, capturing that Jeep with its wheels off the ground in the front. I think that works really well. I like the kind of orangish yellow against the blue sky. Nice nod to complementary color there, and I really like the rule of thirds that's working through the frame here. Let's take a look at our rules of composition. Rule of thirds, try to work it in where you can with these frames. Don't forget balance. The Jeep in and of itself isn't necessarily as exciting as a Jeep in action doing something really cool. And then last but not least, point of view. Think about that last shot we just looked at. That point of view is up underneath the Jeep, watching the Jeep come up through the air. That really accentuated the position of the Jeep in the frame and did a really nice job of it. All right, let's take a look at our export specifications. If you're going to submit an image to us for the semi-monthly image critique, and we certainly hope that you do, here's how you export it and get it to us in a file format that we recognize. Also, you'll see that there's an example of a naming standard for today's date and our naming standard in general above that. If none of that makes any sense, please take a look at the Update 01 video, for which there is a link in the description below. Right next to that link, you will find a link for the upload URL, making it real easy to get an image to us. And speaking of links, down there to the right-hand side, you will find that subscribe link. That's a pretty important link. Click on that, see what happens. All right, get out there and do some jeeping and take some pictures of some jeeping action today. And remember, while you're doing that, learning equals skills. Practice equals mastery. We'll see you out there.